let's look at the third batch of Adventure Site Contest number 2 entries. So entries 13 to 18 in the order I've saved them. We have to start with Dungeon Module Z4, the Khalid Cryo Caves, a 7 Voyages of Xylothon adventure for character level 3 to 5 by Jeff Simpson. This is Buddy Scott Entertainment. And this... Jeff, I think he entered the last contest as well, and you can see his adventures in various places with his very distinctive Buddy Scott Entertainment art here. And it is a set of twisting tunnels set in the liminal space between glacial frost and subterranean heat. Hides the treasures of long dead travellers, but also fearsome creatures. Can you survive the sweltering heat, the oppressive cold, and the cramped passages of the Khalid Cryo Caves? So the Adventure Site Contest, the basic gimmick is you have a couple of pages for the site itself, which should be, a lot of them are about 15 or 20 rooms, some smaller, some larger, and you have a map. And so it's a bit like an expanded one-page dungeon. It's meant to be, there's some limitations to that format, give people a tiny bit more space to make a small 1 or 2 session site. 7 Voyages of Xylothon is closely based on original D&D, OD&D. So bear that in mind as we go. And here you've got some introductions. And I should say, this is one of the ones, probably in the whole contest, it's not hyper advanced, and the map certainly is hand-drawn and basic, though I think within reason perfectly clear, other than there being no, I don't know if this is the remains of scale here, but no hard scale on the map. You're going to have to refer to the key to see what the scale is for some of those vertical drops and stuff. This is quite tidily put together, and I should say it seems like Jeff has found the font used in the classic Star Wars D6 expansion Black Sands of Socorro. So I don't know if he also wrote that, some 30 years ago. But yeah, temperature and close quarters are the big. There's the gimmick here. There's some monsters and stuff, and always hot and cold. But the gimmick is the actual temperature and the fact there's these squeezed tunnels that can damage you. So it is an environmental challenge. And one thing about trying to hit this, in this case, a mid-level adventure, but also high-level adventures, is you need putting stuff on the PCs that actually pressures them and makes them use resources, healing spells, utility spells to resist cold, heat, whatever. And this can be a problem in these in perfectly okay adventures in the mid and especially the high level range. Stuff doesn't really press players, and I think what Jeff is, because you might lose a combat and someone dies, you might get poisoned by something. But frankly, the amount of pressure you're able to put on a group is, in many of these modules, is small. Here, there's mechanical penalties, not danger penalties, but mechanical penalties for temperatures, and the passages have ongoing chances of damaging you. And there are undead theoretically, but they're not undead. They're stone, so they're not turnable. So there's a few things which are just meant to press. As I say, just press a bit. Here, by the way, this is the cross-section map, the cross-section grid rather than the vertical map. So I should say that is gridded at 5 foot per square. But basically, you're meant to be under pressure in these different ways. You're meant to have fewer tricks available to you and more tricks available to the dungeon. Whilst that's all stuff you can work out and at least try to guess. I'd say it's generous on magic. There's a ring of alarm which pings you with a point of damage if you're asleep and something comes within 20 that you're not expecting. It's silver standard, I think, for Jeff, so that's 1,000 gold there. You've got Blade of Tempering, which is a magic weapon. You've got a diamond worth 350. The treasure's okay, it's decent. It's not amazing, but there's enough stuff to keep finding. And I don't know if Xylothon does gold for XP. I actually forget. Someone tell me in the comments. But obviously it's XP as well in AD&D, which is what I run. Oh yeah, find another book. Yeah, that's the 1,000 gold room. There's a couple of sets of monsters. There's the grizzly boar living fossils, of which there are 3, and there is a saber-tooth living fossil, of which there is one. That is the humid den in the frigid layer, and so the different conditions. You can see the saber-tooth living fossil is bones. The grizzly boars are meaty. There's a cave fisher, I guess this is, with this cloudy diamond. You can find 1,000 gold dredging the pool, but you can also get stuck in these underwater tunnels. There's a nice thing here. I'm quite happy with having subsystems for stuff, to be clear. But Jeff says for drowning, look at rock to mud. There's a thing where it's like, look, this is stuff already in the book. Keep the system as limited as possible. Then you have the boss of the whole thing, who has another 1,000 gold, opal ring worth 6,000, and a scroll. And this is the cryomagmic golem, with ice on the outside, fire on the inside, lava on the inside, and it's stages. So there's a fun gimmick there, and players might guess that as well, because you're going to describe it, hopefully, and maybe Jeff should push this. You're going to describe it as like, it's ice, but it looks like it's got like fire inside. And then you're going to describe the ice is cracking as you hit it. Because it will explode and do 3d6 damage and heat the room to 95 degrees. So it's the maximal temperatures essentially for the scenario. Bladed Tempering has a weird effect that is not super intuitive, but is mostly sword +1/+3 versus plants and plant creatures. And the Ring of Alarm I mentioned, and the Scroll of Druidic Rejuvenation is with a 1% weird failure chance, or backlash chance, not failure chance. It restores mammals to life or heals them of damage, including the grizzly boars. And yeah, this is simple, and in a way is maybe a bit narrow because there's not loads of stuff going on. It is very much, and this is maybe showing it fulfills the conditions. This is very much an expedition, and this is a delve, if you like, rather than this is a big adventure that we're going on for like this, an epic quest. It's like, no, here's just a weird place. Let's go and find out. There's a few weird things. There's this challenge to deal with, and we have to use our resources for that. And there's a couple of dangerous enemies, because the enemies are for level 3 to 5 characters. Attack 2d6 for the saber-tooth. The grizzly boars are 2d6 each, and there's 3 of them. The cave fisher has can grab you, and then has 1d6 plus paralysis for its attack. And the golem is 3d6. Stuff in there is dangerous, but there's not lots of it. So I think this is a really well geared, not thrilling, not kind of like, oh wow, I found the thing that's changed my mind about adventuring and writing adventures, but really, really well geared and successful adventure. Barbican of Blood, just to give some praise here to Gorgon Velvet. The art here, what lovely thing. With a map, nice simple map. There's a few secret layers. There's one shortcut, theoretically. This is fine, by the way. For like an 11 or 12 room or whatever it might end up being dungeon, it's 11 room with a secret room. You don't need to have some really complex loopy-doopied map. But yes, this is by Mitch Hyde, aka Dreadlord, friend of the channel. I read books with Dreadlord sometimes. So obviously this is the best adventure and has won. AD&D, 4 to 8 characters, level 6 to 8. This is high level then. And it is that there is some mad guy at a ruined castle who's chasing people away. Actually, he is not the Dark Lord. He's been charmed to protect the Dark Lord, who is a vampire named Albrecht the Jade. So essentially you've got 2 things here. You have the upper works, which is Lord Sigebert and his remaining 4 henchmen, or followers rather, a swordsman who's a squire plus 3 servants. The rest of his people have been eaten by the vampire who has charmed them, and he will joust with any fighters, otherwise he'll try to chase people off, and he will negotiate, but he basically says, look, you win, here's a bunch of stuff, now please go away and never talk about this place again, or here's my magic sword as prize, please go away. He really wants to protect the space. He's slain the dragon, but the vampire has done him, has charmed him. He's fighter level 9. This is the thing. He is tough. It's interesting though, and this is, I think, intentional on Dreadlord's part, that you can joust him using the chainmail joust rules actually, rather than the anything from AD&D onwards. but you can do something that doesn't just consist of having a couple of guys go up against a 3rd level fighter and a 9th level fighter when you're level 7, which is a weird fight. I guess may tend towards strong fighter heavy player character parties. But if you want to kind of save a good guy a neutral guy, lawful neutral guy who's under the influence, there's a way to do it. He has great treasure, is the one thing. I was going to say the if you win the joust, he doesn't offer you that stuff. He offers you 5 medium war horses, which I guess his servants don't need anymore. But if he's injured in a normal fight, he'll surrender the sword. But if you kill him, sword +2, plate +2, shield +1, ring of small fire protection, and potion of haste, and 100 platinum and 100 gold of gems. He is a treasure hoarding himself, and that's obvious. The best thing though is to dispel his charm, and he'll offer you 50,000 gold and the hand of his daughter in marriage if you slay the creature. So there's a lot of interactions here, and this is, I think, basically quite a clever bit. And the kind of ruins, the Barbican and the crumbling keep are, it's all pretty clear, simple, not super exciting, but that should make you think, oh, what else is going on? Why is this guy acting weird? Oh, we've just spelled it. There's a gentleman somewhere. Some stuff, not completely clear stuff about Albrecht the vampire flying out, but I think I could interpret it. One thing is not surprising. I'd be in the same situation, or I am in the same situation when I write stuff. Having someone else go over stuff and just be like, this is baffling, I don't understand it, is always good. It's just very hard to do if you don't have a team, or if you're not if you don't have a big audience. So I'm prone to be generous there, but there are a couple of points in this one where I'm like, oh, I need to interpret that. I think the lower dungeon is a bit tough for your level 8s. Not impossible by any means, but you've got to think here. It's fairly sizable. To be clear, it's as in with the upper bit. There's 11 rooms plus the upper bit. The average rooms are complex. There's this dark portal thing where there's vampiric assassins who are 5th level assassins with surprise odds of 3 and 6. And there's a dark and silent corridor. And then there's a window which has a sphere of annihilation in it and a brass vent. So lots of stuff, not very nice stuff either. You try to. Obviously, the point is you're meant to work your way out of that, and that is room 8. So here, there's an alcove. You're meant to find your way to the right place and get out of the crappy room. There is an alchemist who's making a golem for Albrecht in return for 13 vials of blood, but he might turn around. He could have an illusory vampire attack you. He has 2 homunculi. He also has quite good treasure in his room. He, as much as you can kind of get, and this is great, again, praise to Dreadlord for the interactivity, he will parley, offering wand and aid in the brewing of all potions. He has a wand of illusion. Obviously, for straight treasure, you just need to kill him and take his stuff. There is a decent treasure hoard, including difficult, bulky treasure that is still good, to be fair, as in 2,000 gold, weight 600. Well, it means it's still in profit. A loot and 6,000 coin weight, 160,000 gold value statue. So this is good treasure, but the best stuff, relatively speaking, in terms of efficiency wise, is behind a secret door with a dust trap, which is a bulk amount of water elementals, 100 opals and 100, which are 100 worth 100 each, and 100 silver sling bullets. So really good, useful stuff in there. So there's some nice treasure stuff. In the summoning room, there is a very expensive blood-filled chalice. You can go and talk to a devil, or is it a demon? I think it's a demon. And yeah, and you at Magic the Age, you go and talk to Drigmot. He's a Balor Sultan. So yeah, there's that's dangerous but interesting. All of this stuff just has lots of kind of bits and pieces that are fun, even if they're very dangerous. I'm thinking at 7 and 8, here's a relevant thing. At level 7, you don't have any raised magic organics your party. You do have 3rd level spells, so you have some very powerful offensive spells for your MUs. You've got kind of some more advanced utility spells, but you don't have Raise Dead. So as a boundary, what that means is, and you certainly don't have regen. What that means is some of this stuff is hyper brutal, because the part, and the party's going to spend a lot of its stuff trying to get people back. Probably people are going to die in this fairly reliably. And Alberic is a 40. He's not the most incredibly powerful vampire ever. 42 hit points, it's perfectly fine. And he's got all his vampiric abilities. He has some resistance to weaponry. He's got regen, which is harsh. He has decent spells for the purpose. Silence, you're dropping it on spellcasters. Command, darkness, dispel, hold person, protection from good. He has stuff to really annoy a good party. And he has, what is that? 1d6 plus 4 damage and energy drain. So he has a lot of good stuff. The treasure, which we'll say in a second, is great. But again, it's funny, maybe there's a thing there that he's not so tough. I mean, he's AC 1. He's not so tough you're not going to land blows on him. But with the regen, with the ability to escape via form, and with hypnotic gaze and stuff like that, again, he's going to kill people every time you engage him. There's also like this weird demon who's trying to possess people on the false container. So, and the sphere of annihilation, whatever else. It's brutal. I think is basically my summary of Barbican of Blood, is that it's possibly a party's going to have to be very good to have minimal casualties and get a lot of that stuff out, I think. So it's at the more, and fair enough. These are players who are presumably 7th level, and Dreadlord does say this should be in a campaign, but that's a caveat. I'm not sure of how many parties are going to super succeed through it. Stables of Zothay by Patrick Dolan, a friend of the channel, and playtesters. I think most of these have playtesters credited, by the way, which is great. This is set in Gabor Lux's Zothay, used with permission. I'm going to sum up. This layout-wise is not a nightmare. I found the key fine. I found this kind of briefing section, like, I am a simple man and I like these to be like 14 point to 12 point normal text or something like that. The hooks are also not amazing. A lot of the rest of the stuff as a heist where you're trying to deal with this racehorse that's winning races that maybe shouldn't be, and it's a half nightmare. So it is cheating on behalf of the tyrant Kritos, the tyrant of Zothay. But yeah, the actual heist and a lot of the detail about it, even if it sometimes needs better laying out, is good. Don't like the hooks, but that's about the main thing I want to say there. Again, it doesn't. I don't think this is officially rated for level. Yeah, level 4 to 5. No, it is level 4 to 5 characters. So it's going to be challenging for them, given that if they go into the arena within a couple of rounds, a Boulette might attack them. This again feels like it has a massive swing, a bit like Barbican of Blood from, oh yeah, here's some sneaky, we're sneaking in to find out what's going on. We've got to dodge these guards. There's this dangerous creature to... There's a Gorgon, and there's a Styracosaur, and there's a Manticore, and there's a Manticore horse morph to appear as a emaciated black steed. There's some bits like you might be able to guess it paces rather like a horse. Maybe you should leave as soon as you realise it's weird looking. The scroll, no, sorry, not the treasure is I'd say the treasure is good for 4 to 5 on the whole. Like, the Gorgon is guarding 40,000 gold's worth of coins, scroll invisibility, dispel magic, and horse morph. There's, in an attic crawl space, there's a bunch of gems and pins and stuff like that, and 2 eyes of minute seeing, and things like that. And here, yeah, there is weirdly, I'm not sure about this, Patrick. There's a ghost who has a saddle of etherealness, which is a very cool item, who comes and rides the half nightmare. How did you find out about it? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's super dangerous again. You don't want to mess with it. There's loads of stuff which I think is like this. You're going to have a super cautious party who may struggle to go and deal with this horse or this half nightmare. You can alternatively negotiate with the half nightmare. That's clever. But the half nightmare is only 4+4 HD, lots of damage. You've got a party where the thieves are 5th level. You know, if you're thinking about 3rd to 5th, the thieves are 5th level and the wizards are 3rd. So you know, there's some limitations here on what you're going to put out against this half nightmare. But as long as you get it without the ghost, I guess it's on its own. So maybe that's a kind of mitigation. But yes, Stables of Zothe, the map nice and clear. Then this is like the external, isn't it? The second story and roof and stuff. So yeah, Stables of Zothe. It fits a niche of being a city adventure. It's a heist. You're sneaking. You're not. If you're 5th level characters, you're not kind of storming the doors of the tyrant stable. It's simple in that sense. It maybe needs slightly tidier layout. It's bitty in the sense that there's just rooms. There are like, there might be patrols and stuff. There, stuff like that. So it's not bitty in terms of completely incoherent, but in terms of there's different encounter areas, and a lot of those are quite tough. And I think there's a job for the players here of making good judgments, which is true of any heist, but I think here it may punish the innocent sometimes. Sausages by John Nash, 4 level 5 characters. So we'll get the worst out of the way first, because there's a couple of things that there's some quite clever bits in here. But this is a goofy, semi-comedy adventure, largely comedy adventure, if we're honest, about Porcus, the demon prince of pigs or something, and the demon swine they're being provided to a butcher who has decided to get one over on his rival by having quick breeding, easy to make, therefore cheap demon swine. But these demon swine are obviously causing trouble, as you might expect. And there are lots of things that, partly based on the comedy and partly based on just a couple of things, don't wholly make sense. So there's that, and there's porks who are the pig-faced orcs. You gotta your tolerance here is going to be tolerance for gags, and I have some tolerance for gags, and I appreciate the porks. Actually, the idea that you might have pig-faced orcs who are part of some weird cult, I actually like that. If that's separate to kind of green skin style orcs, I run pig-faced orcs anyway. But yeah, I could do that. I'm not going to run Pork as the Demon Prince of Swine. Some people are. Some people are going to be completely fine with that. They're going to be like, that suits my vibe. Your mileage may vary. There's, some bits and pieces here, which, there's, you can open a basic treasure hoard in the robing room, and there's decent treasure for your level, for level 5s? Was it 4 level 5s? Yeah. So there's decent treasure there, just as one extra hoard, not the CP, but it's BX, so that is 60 gold, 460 gold, but you're going to have to check for 100 monsters. But if you have the key, great. There's a silver feeding trough, which is 1200 GP, but takes 2 people to carry. It's BX, there's no set weight. And some crystal goblets. Oh yeah, good treasure. A diamond as large as a hen's eggs. Loads of good treasure. This is one thing. It's not an ungenerous adventure. There's some nice descriptions on the treasure. There's, here you got these chests in this vault. Some of it doesn't feel like it's completely coherent, as I've kind of already hinted. Like, why is there a dead elf there? How does he get in there? And why does he still have gold? Some porks are going through the pockets of a dead elf. Why is a dead elf in there? Is he an adventurer? Have adventurers gone there before? I don't know. The monster table probably needs to be bigger, because why are there so many lost townsfolk in this kind of semi-locked ruin? Being, I don't know, maybe they've been kidnapped. But that's only going to work once. Otherwise, why are people keeping coming in here? And the same with the sausage maker. That's only going to work once. So yeah, I think there's some nice descriptions. There's some nice bits and pieces. Here there's a spear trap which can fetch like a giant rat. That's quite good. And there's some good environmentals, like here, and there's a good Latin joke. Aprum interfectorum, +1/+3 versus porcine monsters. I don't know how many of those there are. But apart from, I guess, Porcus, the Demon Prince of Swine, who is 8-star in BX terms. So he's going to be a fairly unpleasant experience. But which may be pushing me to think, you need this to be like an 8th level thing, and you need to make that, because he has 2 Devil Swine with him. So maybe it needs to be higher level for you to, and the real game here is to challenge Porcus. Though you can also negotiate with Porcus, maybe. It's not clear. So yeah, I think the more you enjoy the conceit, the more you're going to be able to make that work. For those of us who are less likely to be like, yeah, I want to run the conceit, there's some bits to work from, but it's much more limited. Pit of the Red Worm, V1. I assume it means version 1 rather than the early jet rocket missile. Swords and Wizardry, so OD&D based, 4 to 6 characters, averaging 5th level. So we've got lots of similar stuff: 5th level, 5th level, 5th level, or 4th to 5th. And Barbican and Blood was 6th to 8th, and this was 3 to 5th. So you can see, one thing is, a point of praise for all the ones I've looked at so far. This has been true so far, actually, in the contest. It's good to have some low level stuff and to have some high level stuff, but yeah, so much of the play is happening between 3 and 8 in settled campaigns. That's also where so much of the meat of AD&D is, particularly. It's kind of BX begins to run out of road by the end of that too, so that you don't need anything for BX higher than that. But I think you've got people who design stuff that is filling a niche that is neglected in the hobby. That just fell off. So this is just a place in a hex. Great, you can just put it in a campaign. Basically here there is the idea is the Red Dragon Ingvar lives here, and he has there's a ruined asylum, and there are insane dragon worshipping berserkers who grow the merciless insanity peppers of Quetzalamalan. There's also Grimlocks. So yeah, that's the thing. It's a sort of, yeah, you're going to fight monsters, you fight guys and go around a ruin, and then you're going to go and fight a dragon. It's 5th level. It's hard to judge. I feel like fighting the dragon is probably going to be hard, but the horde, then, and this is absolute praise, it's been set up that maybe you don't have to. Here's the maps, by the by. You've got the overland map there. Here you can see there's lots of stuff. There's 23 rooms. This is really packed it in over multiple levels of the ruin and the dragon lair. I like my favourite random encounter on this. 8 results, which is good. Is Goblin Thieves here to steal the strongbox. Because do you know what? You should ally with the Goblin Thieves. There is later a human thief you can rescue who might betray you. Yeah, there's defiled water, which can disease you. There's 5,000 gold, £5,000 statue. Probably not worth it. There's in the compartment of the pedestal, there are a couple of more useful, kind of valuable treasure items. Candle of Darkness and a gold page Bible worth 777. Vampire Vines, Candle of Darkness rules. Albeit it'd be nice, I guess you could maybe work it out for something else, but to have, Swords and Wizardry, I guess, doesn't give XP for magic. More statues and Grimlocks behind curtains. This is more or less as you come in, operating ballistae. So you can see this immediately has a nasty sort of like ceiling on damage. It feels like at 2d6, if a couple of those hit someone, you could even be killing a weaker 5th level cleric, maybe not a fighter, with con and stuff. But there's a Well of Secrets, which has a 90% chance of giving you a secret, but it might just start lying to you. So cute. There's berserkers on watch. There's a bath with a naiad who's annoyed because she's had to leave somewhere else, and she'll try to get the characters to kill the dragon. And there's environmental stuff like that. The bridge with the geyser erupting. There's insanity peppers. There's berserkers and grimlocks. There is the chief fighting a rebellious Grimlock. There is Lucia, the thief 4, trying to get this good stuff out, good treasure. 8,000 gold in, sorry, 80,000 gold in banknotes. So they're light as well, but she's going to want to steal them from you if you work together. So that's fun as well. Loads of treasure, very generous. A couple of nasty combat encounters. 20 vampire bats, even at HD1, is going to be really annoying if you go into that room. And just flicking down, you've got rules for the insanity peppers. And then you have, the algae tanks. You have the pump room. So you've got some kind of classic interactives that, for lots of us, and this is maybe even more leveraged in BXE type adventures, which are heavily descended and influenced by things like B1 and B2. But the kind of high, and you see that in Lost Labyrinth, Lost Adventures, stuff I've talked about here. Enormous Subsurface Environment is one of the best for this, as I really enjoyed that. Just this room that does this weird stuff. What about this thing? Maybe you could press these buttons. And yeah, you've got a bit of that there. And then you've got Ningabar's lair, which has thick steam and scalding water and so on. And there's loads of hordes. But the relevant thing here is for each loud sound he stirs in his sleep with a cumulative 10% chance of waking, he's asleep. Now, what are you going to do? How do you get into the horde? How you get? There's possibly some DM fiat needed here. I mean, there is DM ruling needed here. How much do you need to take before it's a loud noise? Are you going to start getting to save versus paralysis for falling down the gold mountain? The treasure is good. Gold coin necklace, as luckstone, mirror polished bronze shield +2 with 10% spell turning, copper crook, which is a wand of lightning bolts, a diamond worth 4,200, marble statue of a philosopher worth 2,000, sapphire worth 2,000, 3,000 coins, 10 gems. It's a good hoard. I'd like rules for that. I think you've got this far, and you do have this much space left in your third page of text, so probably rules for that would be good. There's a shambling mound. So yeah, I think this is got some nasty stuff in it, and it's kind of aesthetically intentionally middle of the road, and that actually makes it better for campaigns, and it's a good level for campaigns that are serious and settled campaigns. 5th level is not as funky therefore as some stuff you could get. There's also, you might want to rename the Evil Chili Peppers. I don't mean like the band, I mean in the adventure. But it's good. This one's good. I like this one. Riley's Tower of the Necromancer, 3 to 4 characters for Swords and Wizardry, level 1 to 2. So this is, you can see there's a little dungeon underneath the Necromancer's Tower, and there's an interesting thing here where he's the guy here, the conjurer who lives here, you could just become his friend, and he could hire you to do stuff, to perform duties for him. And that's a really cool thing that Riley straightaway says, look, you need to, you should treat this as multiple things. It's not just a dungeon to be cleared, it could be an ally to be made. That's good. And the big gag is that people in the village or whatever are seeing skeletons. They're not skeletons, they're people who are using a unique potion to make their skin and flesh disappear. This counts amongst the weirder gimmicks in an adventure, but I kind of dig it. It's something, shows we're all built different. Porcus, the Demon Prince of Swine, I like the gag, I don't want to run it. Here I'm like, yeah, I could run this. Maybe that shows a weakness in me. You've got some nice bits and pieces. Like there's some servants who might not remember the there's a glyph in front of where Santha works, and there's some treasure. Is that mirror mental prowess there? There's perfectly kind of, you can deploy your skeletons here. It'd be nice to know how many are meant to be sleeping at one time. But there's kind of order of battle stuff as well. I mean, even if I could do with more maybe. harder treasure to find. One of the shelves appears less dusty and behind the jars, a loose brick can be removed. A thorough search in this room will find you this. That and here the bunk room, by the way, I assume this is 72 gold total in small effects, but then 2 big bits of treasure. I actually think for a level 1 to 2 adventure, just being able to find fairly safely just over 600 gold, unless you encounter them in that place, unless you have an encounter there. I think just sometimes having generous treasure that's easy to get. It sounds funny because you think, no, you should always have like, you have to survive all these dangers or you have to be clever. Yeah, you want a mixture, and just being able to walk in there and find some stuff that's not amazing, but it's just 600 XP. There's 5 of you, right, or whatever. That's over 100 XP each. You're level 1, you're level 2. That's really helpful. Other than that, the treasure is decent otherwise. Certainly if that is a mirror mental prowess, that's enormous, though you then have to deal with this 4 HD magic user with sleep. And if you're the DM and people start trying to kill the magic user, you should feel free in this adventure to use sleep. You can always have him negotiate afterwards. There is a quantum ogre. This is a gag. You will have to decide if you like it or not. The point here is that you don't know where the ogre is going to be at any one point in the adventure, and it can move or stay depending on, so there's a sort of, it's a reference. It's not actually a bad encounter in itself. You just don't call it a quantum ogre to the players. The ogre has fairly crappy treasure. It's okay for the level. There are these 2 blink dog pups you could rescue. That'd be nice. They could become your friends. It doesn't actually say they can become your friends, but that's how you should run it. Magic net. There is no treasure value put to this. Again, this is Swords and Wizardry, which I don't think does do that. I say that. The potions of invisible flesh also don't have their own value. So yeah, I assume I should know this, but Swords and Wizardry doesn't do that. But yes, 500 gold. The lab is good. Bit sad seeing the blink dog there. And the maps are all perfectly reasonable. Do we have a scale on the maps? Because we don't have a scale on the rooms here. Good trick is if even if you've also got gridded maps, having the room as 5x10 I find helpful because I can cross-reference it. Do we have a reference to the map? I don't know. Let's assume given it's a tower, they're going to be 5 feet, aren't they? 5 feet squares. Maybe I'm missing something. Yeah, this is decent. I think there's a couple of nice bits in it, like the negotiation, a couple of the bits of the treasure, and the potential. It's like in T0 Journey to Homeland, you can rescue the young silver dragon. Rescuing the blink dog pups, that could be a really cool campaign thing. Even if you don't kill Santha, you just rescue the pups. That'd be really cool. Of this batch, again, all of them had bits I think you can steal. Some definitely are more niche. Do you want to have a city adventure stealing, going and stealing horses? I do, but not everyone's going to. Do you like adventures about demon pig people? Some people like it, but others will not. I think the Khalid Cryo Caves are nice. That's Jeff Simpson's. I think that one feels like the most accomplished, and it's not surprising. Jeff's a veteran of this group. I think Barbecuing of Blood is the other one, despite I think some, let's call them balance issues, is the other one that I was really like, there's some jam there. I think that really got me going, but I think all of them have something to recommend them. Maybe the one that's easiest to drop into a campaign is the Barbican of Blood or the Pit of the Red Worm. Anyway, give me your first impressions of these in the comments, and I'll see you next time.